Oh, my. What is this? It's a camera? Oh, man. Okay. Can I take your picture? Oh, you got to do that? You got to turn it around? I don't know anything about it. Okay. Getting fired up here. That's pretty fancy, huh? Okay. All right. Now, let's see here. I'm going to show... Is this one of those cameras that makes like crazy backgrounds and does crazy things where it makes people look like cats and things like that? No. It doesn't do anything like that? Okay. So there you go. All right. There we go. Can I take y'all's picture?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, huh? There you go. I'm glad it's your camera. Then you can do... There you go. I pushed the button. I'm guessing it worked. Okay. Now it's doing something. Oh, it's printing a picture right there? Oh, man. We used to have things like that called Polaroids. Have you kids ever heard of a Polaroid? No, you hadn't heard of a Polaroid. How many of y'all know what I'm talking about with a Polaroid, right? And boy, that was a big deal. You could take someone's picture and it would print it right off there, and you get your color Polaroid, and you have to wait because it was sort of wet, right? And you remember how you had to wait, and if you touched it before it dried, it would smudge. You remember that? And yeah, and now you've got the fancy version of a Polaroid. So look at that, huh? Wow, that's a great picture, huh? I like it. Well, so what is the picture that God has of you? And that's really what we just learned about, identity. When God looks at you, how does he look at you? Now that's really a very significant subject, because here's what our bulletin tells us, and why we're here. When God takes a picture of you, for you to be accurate in your picture of yourself, you have to make sure that your picture lines up with God's picture of you. Does that make sense? So, because God always knows everything, and everything he knows to be is true and right. When God sees you, and you see yourself the way God sees you, then you can have the right identity, the right view of who you are. And when God looks at you, know what God sees? God sees someone that he made especially in his image for his purposes. So when God looks at you, he says, here's a person that I love unconditionally. When God looks at you, he says, oh, here's a person that I can forgive their sins and make them my child. Here's a person that I will use to know me, or that can know me and I can use. Here's a person that I accept them, not because of all that they do for me. I accept them because I've chosen to accept them through my son, Jesus Christ. And we'll learn so much more this year about how God views us. But I want you to remember that if you want to view yourself correctly, you always have to think, what does God say about me? And when I view myself the way God sees me, and I say, I'm going to view myself the way God looks at me, then I can always be right and accurate in my thinking. That's a hard concept to get, isn't it? That's a really hard concept to get, but that's a great camera that you brought. Thank you for bringing that today, and let me give this away to someone else, okay? All right, very good. Thank you, ma'am. All right, go back to your seats at this time.